everyone, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to card 2 of my 2019 holiday card series. Today I'm going to be making a card using Lawn Fawn's Mice on Ice and Ready Set Snow. So I've stamped out the little mouse that I'll be using on today's card, and then I also wanted to stamp some Christmas trees, and these are more solid images, so I'm stamping those out with Noble Fur ink, which is perfect for Christmas trees. And I'm doing 2 of the large and 1 of the small. And then I'm going to color the little mouse in with my Copic markers. So for his body, I'm using some warm grays. I'm using W00, W1, W3, and W5. I'm going to start with the W5 and lay in some shadows. I'm going to put them around the edge of his face and his ears, and then alongside the back of his body, and also a little bit up under his scarf, since that would be casting a shadow. Then I'm going to blend that out with the W3, just really being careful to go over the edge of that W5 and just soften up that color and pull it out towards the center. And then I will finish him up on the left side of his body with the W1. I'm going to add a little bit of W1 to the bottom of his belly and then pull up with the W00. And I also colored in his ear and his skates. Then I'll use the RV10 and RV13 to finish off his ear and give him a rosy cheek. And the reason I put the W00 down first was just so that the pink wasn't quite so bright. And then I also used the RV13 to color in his nose. For his scarf, I'm using BG45 and BG49, just the 2 shades, since there are only these 2 shades in this little color family here. And I wanted it to be something that was nice and bright, just a real big pop of turquoise color. I did go back in with another layer of that BG49 just to intensify those shadows. And then I went over the skates with the BG11. Then I'm going to take my Sakura black jelly roll pen and just dot over the eye to make that nice and shiny and bright, and then I'll trim these out with the matching dies. For my background, I've cut out a piece of inkadinkado masking paper with one of the circle stackables from Lawn Fawn. So I'm just going to peel off the release paper, and then I'm going to add that to my piece of Bristol smooth surface cardstock. I'm going to get that positioned and then carefully rub down all the edges so that it's not going to pull up when I start to ink blend. The first color that I'm adding is Tattered Rose, and I'm going to add a pretty good layer of that. I wanted to have a nice, soft, kind of peachy pink sky, so this is the perfect shade for that. Making sure to really blend right around that circle so that it'll really pop when you peel off the mask. And then I'm going to bring in warm lipstick on both sides and the top and just really blend that color on the edges. And then I'm going to go back to my Tattered Rose ink blending tool and just really help that to kind of fade together. I'm going to smush a little bit of that worn lipstick onto my work surface, water it down with my distress sprayer, and then splatter that all over the background just to give it some texture. Then I'm also going to grab some Copic opaque white and add that to my work surface as well. I'll water that down and pick that up with a clean paintbrush. And then I'm going to do some more splatter. So this is going to create some snow. So the closer that you get to the paper, the larger the drops will be, and the farther away that you pull back, the smaller the droplets will be. So I've set that aside to dry, and now moving on to another piece of Bristol, and this is going to be my ice skating rink. So I'm just adding some tumbled glass along the bottom edge and the 2 sides to give it that frosty look and just, create that cold feel. So I'm just going to keep blending that on until I'm happy, and then go back and forth to really smooth things out as it transitions into the white cardstock. Smush some of that ink onto my work surface and continue the splattered effect so that the whole card is cohesive. Once that panel is dry, I popped it in my MISTI, and now I can stamp out my sentiment. I'm using Lawn Fawn's Mermaid ink to stamp out Joyful Holidays and then a couple of the little skating marks. And I did stamp that down twice to get a good impression, especially since these were brand new images that I hadn't stamped out before. Now I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn Mermaid cardstock for my card base. So I've opened that up so that I can stamp on the inside. I've grabbed two more of the little mice and then the sentiment that says, "May the little things bring you happiness," and then a couple of snowflakes as well. So now I'm ready to start the assembly, and I wanted to show you that I'm using a card sketch from our current Lawn Fanatics challenge. So I'm going to start by gluing my focal panel down to the card base, and I had started in a different direction, that's why the stamping was directly on the card base, but I ended up changing things around. So I'm going to try to show you how I'm using the different elements of the sketch. So the circle part is going to be the moon that is in the sketch, that little circle there, and I am going to save that mask for another time. So I'm going to glue that down to the top. You can see that the sketch had the card split into two pieces, and then there's the circle on the one side, and then there were three little triangles on the other. So the three little triangles we're going to get to in a minute. But first I wanted to add a little bit of color to my moon, so I'm just using some cool gray markers. This is C0 and C1, and then also the colorless blender to just kind of give it a little bit of a hazy glow. And then I also did go back and add some little dots and things for the craters, just to help it look a little bit more realistic. And then all of that is going to get pushed back a bit with the colorless blender, so it'll just fade off and be a nice detail in that background, so it's not just stark white. Next I'm going to take a little snowdrift that I used the stitched hillside borders to trim out, and that's going to go at the top of my scene. That's going to be the snowdrift that separates the ice skating rink from the sky. It's really kind of just a pond. And then I'm going to take this little frame. This is the stitched scallop frame, and I'm going to add that over top to represent the sketch had like a little detailed edge there, like a little bit of a layered look. So that's going to be that layer. And then the three little arrows that were in the sketch are going to be the three trees that I stamped out. So I'm going to add those. They're not going to be in a perfect straight line like the sketch, but that's the great thing about sketches. They're open to interpretation. So you can make them, whatever you decide it's going to be. So I'm just going to adhere those down with some liquid glue, and then I'm going to grab my little mouse, and he's going to go down on the bottom half of the card so he can be skating on the pond. And I just wanted to adjust him and make sure he was in the perfect position. And then to add a little bit of an extra fun element, I'm going to take the Santa sleigh and reindeer image from Ready Set Snow and stamp that out in hippo ink. This is a dark gray ink. I thought black would be too stark, but I really wanted a dark silhouette, so I thought the gray would be perfect and also tie in with the mouse. And as a final embellishment, I'm going to grab my favorite Christmas time embellishment, which is crystal stickles, and I'm going to add that to all the little snow piles that are on the trees. And then I'll also add it to the mouse's scarf, and then also the edge of the snowy hill. I thought that would be fun to give it a bit of sparkle. And I also decided to dot a little bit into the moon just to give it an extra glow. And that is going to complete my card for today. I'll tip that into the light so you can see all the sparkle and shine and give you another peek at the inside. And then I'll also pull in that sketch once again so you can see how I stuck pretty close to it, just switched up a few things like the direction of the arrows. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That way you won't miss any videos in the holiday card series. By the way, if you're watching this the day it goes live, you're actually getting some bonus content because I actually had 2 projects due today, both for Lawn Fawn and Lawn Fanatics. So day 1 and day 2 of my holiday card series are going up at the same time. So I hope you'll check out both of those videos. If you'd like to see day 2 of my previous 2 years of holiday card series, those are on screen right now and you can click on either one of those. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day. Bye-bye.